this week on the Valley.
Raise your hand if you have 3 kids.
Just you, not Nia.
Nobody had 3 kids. Don't tell me to stop.
Come on, that's being rude. Let's finish.
You me over. Yeah.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're gonna be talking about the Valley, episode 11. Listen, I know I say this every single week. I love the Valley. It is so freaking good. In this episode, it had me laughing. It had me on the floor. Let's get right into this. Okay, so we pick up the episode. The girls are all planning Janet's surprise baby shower. That was very nice of them to do that. As they are working towards that, Brittany says that Jax did apologize to her, but she still doesn't like what he did. She's talking about the drinking, the whole thing with him, asking if she was drunk and her screaming. Brittany also talks to Michelle about the rumors that Jax brought up to her a few days ago. Michelle says everything is okay. Jesse already knows everything. Brittany asks, "Well, how are you? How are you and Jesse? Is he better since he went on that retreat?" And Michelle says, "Yeah, he came back and he seems better. He's been very physical, but she just doesn't feel it to be reciprocal of it." And Brittany says, "Wow, well, I wish Jax would be more physical with me, but can I ask you something? Are you still attracted to him?" And Michelle says, "No, she is not attracted to him at all. Not physically, not emotionally, and that's really tough. This marriage is pretty much over. If it's almost as if everything Jesse does, Michelle kind of despises. And obviously that's, a product of a failed marriage." We see the men, they are on a boat. It was hilarious because Jesse had to use the restroom, so they made a stop. But when they left him in the restroom, the boat, they they left. But Jesse was smart enough to hop onto another boat, but then obviously eventually he came back with them. Danny and Jason are fishing. They only got a fish, and then a seagull ate it after they released it back into the water. Danny then starts to sing The Lion King, Circle of Life. It was hilarious. But Danny was getting a little lit. He was getting turned up and he was acting a little interesting. He was, really pouring it down with the alcohol. So then back to the women, they all get ready and then they call Janet up and surprise her with the baby shower. Janet was very happy. They had a little lunch and Janet says she's very grateful that she has these friends who are all mothers as well and are going to be very helpful, just to guide her on this journey that she's about to take. They go inside and they play some games like chug the bottle. They also talk about labor. The women shared their experiences, which sounded a little scary, not gonna lie. Epidural shot and pain and all this. I was like, oh my gosh. The men come back and then the dinner for that night will be, okay, so they're gonna have a dinner, they're gonna have a private chef, but everyone needs to dress up as their partner's sexual fantasy. Okay, that's interesting. We quickly see a glimpse of Kristen and Luke walking their dog. They seem to be okay, but that's literally all we got this episode. And honestly, because she wasn't invited on to the trip, and it's been about 3 episodes now that we've been in Big Bear, I've kind of forgotten about Kristen. So the couples start to dress up, and these outfits were hilarious. Most of them kind of they wanted to be funny. So Jason dressed up as a hot dog because Janet loves hot dogs. Janet is dressed as a vanilla bean. Okay. Jesse dressed up as Harry Styles. Nia was going to be a bottle of ranch dressing because Danny loves ranch. And I do too. I'm disgustingly obsessed with ranch, but that's a whole other thing. And Danny is dressed up as a character from Outlander. Jax was on top of some things to appear to be an NBA player, and then Jasmine was supposed to be Kalani. It was hilarious because these outfits were so bad, but you know what? They owned it. But you guys, Danny was taking things a little too seriously. Man, this guy started doing method acting because he kept talking in a Scottish accent. Obviously, he was drunk, But as that poor chef was coming over to tell them what the menu was, he was going nuts with his character getting up, sitting down, saying all types of crazy things. Jesse makes a joke about Danny being a horrible actor. I'm sure he was joking, but that made Danny break character. He got very upset. He's definitely very sensitive. But, Jesse is a little too much, so I get it. Because remember, Danny is an actor, so for him to say he's a terrible actor, that's kind of offensive. So then Michelle's messy ass in the middle of the dinner brings up houses. She brings up that Nia told her that she didn't want a house in Santa Clarita. She wants to live in West Hollywood, LA. And so she throws it to the table for them to talk. And Nia says that, yeah, she would like to live in West Hollywood or LA. Danny brings up that they have literally no room in the penthouse that they're staying at right now. And obviously living there is super expensive. And, they have 3 kids. Then, you guys, Danny starts to flip out. He gets very angry and mad. Nia tells him to stop because he was getting very intense. Then Jasmine kind of came at him and said that he's not listening to his wife, which I will say, Jasmine, I love her, but I'm going to need her to mind her business when it comes to married couples, because she really does like to interject. And that's one thing about married couples. Don't be interjecting, especially when you're not married. But Nia wants Danny to stop talking about it. She feels like maybe they shouldn't be having this conversation at the dinner table with everyone. She says, let's talk about something else. Then Danny says to her, you really effed me over. Now, he obviously said the word. Nia says, you just cussed at me and said the F word on national television. I felt so bad for Nia. She was so embarrassed, and who wouldn't be embarrassed? If their spouse was acting like this. That was crazy, but that was it for the night. I will say I saw a lot of people on Twitter. Now, granted, the majority, I would say, of people do love Nia, but some people were saying, oh, Nia was so freaked out that she wasn't in control. She wants to make her marriage appear as if it's perfect. Well, that's the thing. I mean, who wouldn't want to be in control of what is being shown? I don't blame her for that. But like I said, that was it for the night. We then see everyone the next morning. It is time for everyone to get up and pack up and leave. But we do see Jesse and Michelle real quick. So Jesse brings up that the rumors about Michelle sending these sexual pictures are actually bothering him. He pretended that they didn't, but they are. He says that he doesn't, for example, she never lets him anywhere near her phone. And if there's smoke, there's fire. And then in his confessional, Jesse tells us that the reason he actually brought this up again is because they had sex in the morning. And it felt very, they disconnected. She had her eyes closed and whatnot. So he, in that moment, couldn't help but to think, what if those rumors are true? Obviously, she's saying that they're not. So Jesse says, at the end of the day, I trust you. I don't trust Kristen. But I don't think he truly trusts his wife all that much. Also, this was interesting. Michelle insinuates that Kristen is cheating on Luke. Brittany then goes to have coffee with Janet, and they go outside to sit on some swings. They are still talking about Jax going off on her the other day. Brittany says that he is overreacting and that it's honestly becoming impossible to communicate with him. Janet says that she's worried about them and she really wants them to fix things. She says, but, I know y'all don't believe in divorce and y'all wouldn't go down that path. Brittany interrupts her and says, oh, we would go down that path. Oh! Brittany says that she doesn't feel comfortable in her body right now, and she doesn't feel like Jax is attracted to her. They don't have sex, and it's a lot to put that on top of them opening this bar. And they haven't even been trying for this second baby like they were supposed to. This was the first time that Brittany has entertained the idea of divorcing or splitting up. So then Danny and Nia go out for a walk. They are obviously a little bit more calmed down, walking, holding hands. Love that. Nia says, okay, now that it's just the two of us, probably a better time to have this conversation about what we were talking about last night. So she says that she doesn't feel connected to Santa Clarita. There's no friends there, no family. She's going to be sequestered from everyone else. And she would probably be unhappy living there. And he says that he understands and he wants to be there for her and be her rock. Nia appreciates this, obviously, but she also does want him to focus on himself. It's definitely a rocky season that they're living because, they have a toddler and then 2 newborns. So it's a lot to kind of adjust trying to get a new house. But I think that even though they might have some issues every once in a while, they have that foundation of love that they will be okay regardless. So the last scene of the episode is back in LA. They aren't in Big Bear anymore. So Jesse is hosting something that he does called Friday's Gentleman's Lunch. It's like a networking thing. It's pretty cool at this very expensive restaurant. Jax and Jason go there, and there's some other guys that Jesse knows, and they have like very fancy course lunch. Like I said, very expensive. And as they're eating, they talk about the trip, and somehow they started to talk about Jax and Brittany again. Jax says that they're fine, but Jesse tells Jax that based on the conversations that Brittany has been having with some of the women, it might be worse than what he thinks it is, and he doesn't want Jax to be hurt and whatnot. Jax was a little upset hearing this, but he's kind of like just trying to. He kind of just takes it in, trying to fake it till he makes it. He says everything's okay. Jesse then asks, would you let her leave if she wanted to? And Jax said, no, my wife would never want to leave. And that was the end of the episode. Okay, so like I said, great episode. It was crazy that Danny got drunk. I cannot imagine being in public with your spouse and they're drunk and they're acting so out of character. I felt so bad for Nia. That girl was embarrassed. Next week is the finale, you guys. The season finale. I'm very pissed that they're not getting a reunion. I feel like it deserves a reunion. There's so much to be, talked about, especially now with all these people splitting up, Jesse and Michelle getting a divorce, Kristen being iced out. Like, I feel like there's so much. I can't wait for next week's episode. It looks like Jax is gonna have his opening for his bar, and there's gonna be some fights happening with Zach and Jason, Michelle, and Kristen. So that's going to be. I'm looking forward to that a lot. But you guys, let me know what your thoughts are on this episode. What do you think about Brittany kind of, opening up the idea of divorce? Let me know. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. You have a great one.